Her smile shines as bright as the stars at night. Her heart is as kind as can be. She has the patience of a saint, but if you push her, oh Lordy. A straight talker is Smiley. She's the salt of the earth. Make no mistake, she matters. Catch Smiley's story on a live stream. Oh boy, that girl can add her. Go Smiley. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. Missing posters and stories of heartache and fear. She tells us all of the heartbreaking tears. She can sniff out the guilty from a mile away. If Smiley's on the case, then she's here to stay. She cares about these missing children. She cares deeply about them all. She speaks the truth with integrity. For the truth, she will seek it all. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. Smiley's questions are like a heat-seeking missile. She's going straight for the bullseye. Don't ever believe you can fool her. She's too wise, man, she won't comply. She values freedom like the 4th of July. She values respect even more. If you want to earn a place at Smiley's table, watch the clock, it takes time for sure. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. If you break her trust, you're done for. Trust don't grow back like grass. So don't give Smiley a reason to doubt you, or that friendship will shatter like glass. She's a damn good woman, that much we know. She puts in the hours to bring them kids home. If your child is missing, you want Smiley on the case. She is always willing and she gives so much grace. She's a Smiley, alright. She's a Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. If you're guilty, you better feel fear.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. November 23rd, 2025. I got 11:33 a.m. I hope everybody's up, got their coffee, got their drinks, got everything you need this morning. We're going to have a good topic this morning, I think. Well, it's never good when it's these kind of talks, but I think it's going to be a pretty good show myself. But welcome in. Hello, H. Davis. You are back at number 1. Ding, ding, ding. You always are lucky at that. Lucky. Hello, Deanna. Welcome. Good morning to you. Mama, good to see you. Hello. Thank you for being here. BJ, hello. Good morning. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. Always wonderful over here. Sun is shining bright and I woke up. That's always good. Retha Bell, hello. Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Raymond, hello. Good morning. Did you work last night, Raymond? I hope your morning is going good as well as your day. I hope it goes great. Excuse me. Clear my throat here. Susan, hello. Good morning. Glad to see you here. Hello. Welcome in, everybody. I'm so glad everybody's here this morning. How was your weekend so far? Oh, I hope you have a great day too, Mama. I really do. I really hope everybody does. I don't wish ill on anybody. I hope you have a great day. Sharon says, blessings, everyone, on this beautiful day. It is a beautiful day. The sun is shining. Hey, Christy, so good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, beautiful. So, let's see. Mama said, is she saying hi to Christy? So y'all, talk amongst yourselves. I'm just glad that everybody's here. And we're going to talk today. We're going to talk about a sensitive topic, but we're going to be respectful. And I just want to put a little disclaimer in here. This live is going to cover true crime topics. It's going to cover something I know y'all have definitely heard about, but we're going to cover topics that may be disturbing or emotional or difficult for some. I share these stories with respect for the victims and for their loved ones. Details are presented carefully. They're going to be presented carefully, and they're for educational and awareness purposes only. And if at any point you feel like you need to step out, you go ahead and you step out. That's totally understandable. I do understand that. Sometimes these cases can be hard, but they are necessary, and that's what we're in. We're in true crime, so that's what we're in. But I hope y'all have a good Sunday, and I hope your day's good. Sundays, as always, you kind of never want to get out of bed. Who's cooking today? Who's cooking? Anybody cooking? Anything good? I don't know. I'm getting some stuff done, going through little things and cleaning out here and there and drawers and closets and all the little nitpicky stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. But besides, and doing this stuff as well. You're doing leftovers. Leftovers are good. Thanksgiving planning. Absolutely, Kelly. Welcome in, Kelly. Good to see you. I hope everybody has a beautiful Thanksgiving as well. It's the time of year we got a lot to be thankful for, all of us, especially if you have your family, you have your children, you have woke up, you're healthy, everybody's going to go through struggles, and everybody has their own things. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Hold on now. Goodness, I had to sneeze 2 times. Sorry about that. But this is the time of year we all need to be thankful and just be grateful we're all here, right? So, but anyway, I hope everybody's, in here that's in here. Thank you, Mama. And if you're just coming in, please hit that thumbs up button and let's just talk about this. Sit back and chill today. My intentions are after we go through this live later this evening, because I found one part, but it was about 6 hours long, honestly, that I want to go through on this very case right here. And I do want to go through that, but it's so long. I'll have to do it this evening. I cannot do it in this live. I absolutely cannot. And I may even have to break that into two. But this is very interesting. Like I said, we've all heard about this. But this is the case that finally stopped him. And this is, we're going to talk about Israel Keys. I know many of you has heard about him. How many has heard about him? If you heard about the Israel Keys case and what he did, he's a serial killer. Go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. If you have not, put a 2. I'm just interested to know. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Raymond. Raymond said, thankful for being part of this family. And we are thankful that you are a part of this family and you're always a part of this family. Thank you for your super chat. Woo! Thank you so much. Thank you. We're blessed to have you, Raymond, always. Kiki, hello. Good morning to you. Good morning to everybody coming in. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. But this is Israel Keys. Who is he? Hey, Grave. Hello. Good to see you. Good afternoon. I keep saying morning. Well, good afternoon. Good morning. Reba, hello. Hello. It's afternoon, night. Heck, it might be night somewhere. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't know. But who was, we should say was, he took the coward's way out. Okay. But who was Israel Keys? Who was he? Let's see. We got Kiki, a member. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a member. Thank you so much. We love our Smiley Squad here. Thank you for becoming a new member. Thank you so much. Love you much. Love you much. Whoop, whoop. Thank you. Thank you so much. But we want to know who he was, okay? Who was Israel Keys? He was born January 7th, 1978 in Utah. He was raised in a remote, isolated environment, and he grew up in a strict, and I mean strict, extreme household and away from society with very little contact with outsiders. Look, y'all, sometimes I think you can be too strict. This is my opinion only, and I think you can have too much, be controlled too much. That's just me. Hey, Kimberly, good to see you, love. Not saying that's what happened here, and not saying that excuses anything he does, honestly. Deanna, whoop, whoop. Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you, Deanna. Thank you so much. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hey, Gypsy. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I just think you can be too strict on children and too controlled, because sometimes when you keep those locked down, they're the ones who go out in the world and go buck wild. I feel like that's what I feel like. I actually knew somebody like that one time, but they were raised by their grandparents, and they were very strict on her. They were so strict. She never got to do, anything. And back then, honey, we didn't have phones. We didn't have all that stuff. But yeah, that's kind of how I stand on that. But anyway, that's my opinion. And again, I'm not saying that's what happened here. But when he got out, when he was able to get out, hey, Chi Chi, hello, everyone. Cinderella, everyone coming in. I'm sorry if I'm missing you, okay? When he got out, he was able to get from under the thumb of his house or whatever, however you want to say it. He broke into homes as a teenager. He harmed animals, and he expressed unusual fascination with control and violence. Okay. Those are just some of the things that I found and I wanted to take note to and bring out because that's what he brought out into the world. And I'm just guessing and assuming that probably had to do a lot with his home life. I don't know. I'm not trying to blame that on anybody. I'm just saying. But I think he has evil. Well, we know he had evil in him. He had evil in him for sure. Now listen, I'm going to say this. Everybody needs to take caution. If somebody hurts animals, that's not a good sign. That right there is not a good sign. I don't think that's a good human. I just don't. Everybody can have their own opinions on that. But he was doing that. I don't know if he was ever stopped. I don't know if he ever got care. I don't know. I'm just telling you who right now he is or who he was. Because again, he took the coward's way out. Okay. Israel Keys, he eventually left home. And this is important. Okay. He eventually left home and he joined the U.S. Army. Okay, he served from 1998 to 2001, and he received an honorable discharge. Let me say that again. He received an honorable discharge. And he blended right on into society. Okay, he was, on all accounts, a normal young adult. Okay. So he goes into the military, he serves, he gets an honorable discharge. So what he's doing is he's really living this double life. Okay. I don't even want to think about how many people out here is living a double life. That's scary in itself. That was only on Lifetime movies to me, but I'm coming to find out, oh my God, these people live double lives. For real. So everyone looked up to him. They supported him. They looked at him as a military guy, a good guy. And all the while, he was not a good guy. He was not an honorable guy. He lived this horrible double life. On the outside, though, nobody knew. Everybody thought he was perfect. He was perfectly normal, right? After the Army, he got out. He also worked hard in the construction field. Okay? That's hard work. So he also worked hard doing that. He had one daughter, and they lived very quietly. So he was the kind of man that nobody suspected of anything like that, right? He went to work. He had a child. He was a military man. Nobody thought anything except he was a hard-working man and a decent human being. But privately, this stuff had already begun. Hello, Thomas. Hello. Welcome. Thank you for being here. So what he did was he traveled across the United States. He studied law enforcement. He planned his future crimes. He planned all of his kills. It's snowing there in New York? Oh, I always wanted to see a good snow in New York. No, I go and I almost fall off the Brooklyn Bridge, but that's beside the point. I want to go see some snow. Hello. Stay warm. But yeah, he planned these crimes. You know what he did? He had these kits that he fixed, and he would take them. Okay, see, here's the problem, and here's why FBI, and here's why nobody could catch on to him, because his MO was never the same. this was a problem. It was never the same. Okay. But he had these kits and he would hide them all over the United States. But here's where it gets a little bit hairy. Most serial killers, they have a MO, they have their type, they have a certain age, they have a certain gender, maybe a race, they have whatever they like, a certain lifestyle or whatever. But this one, he had none of that. Not him at all. What he did, he targeted men, he targeted women, teenagers, he even targeted couples, he targeted strangers. He got victims in all states, different states. He also used different methods, different timelines. He didn't want to keep no consistent timeline. Okay. He tried to always beat the game. He tried to always beat the cop. Yeah, Ruby said, we all have private lives and few know about. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Frankly, I'm personally surprised. I'm surprised that he was ever caught. I really am. Some, the reason I'm surprised he's even caught, because some can't even catch ones that are not serial killers, right? That some that may seem like the easiest solve. But they finally caught up with this one. He was full of confusion. He told investigators, his words, I did everything I could to make sure there was no pattern. That's what he told them. I did everything I could to make sure there was no pattern. He wanted to avoid being profiled, and he almost succeeded. Well, he did succeed at not having a profile, but he almost succeeded at not being caught. To this day, investigators, they struggle to identify all of his victims. That is the sad part. There's no telling how many victims are out there. There's no telling who's still missing. There's still no telling how many has been harmed. It's just no telling. It's scary. Keyes traveled across the United States, and he buried buckets filled with weapons, restraints, cash, tools. Okay? And then what he would do is, months and even years later, he would turn around and he would go to those buried items and he would commit these crimes in that area. Now that is scary. He wasn't in no hurry, but that's what he did. That's right. He had his kits prepared. He had them placed all over the world. And then he'd go back and get them. He'd go back and dig them up. And yeah, years later, and then he would commit these horrendous crimes. Now think about that. Just think about that. This is why FBI still isn't sure how many of these victims, or who many of these victims are. And again, he unalived himself when he was caught. He planned nationally, not locally. He stumped FBI. At least 11 states had known about his activity. Alaska, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Texas, Arizona, New York, Vermont, Nevada, and there were so many more that suspected. Only one, and that's what we're going to talk about, only one of his victims was fully confirmed by name that I know of, and that's this beautiful girl named Samantha that was 18 years old on my screen right here. Samantha Cohen, she was in Alaska. This was back in 2012. She was a young girl. This is what got him caught. And thank God it did, because there's no telling how long this would have went on, that he would have kept doing what he was doing, or how many more victims out there would have been. Samantha on my screen. She was 18 years old. She lived in Anchorage, Alaska. And what they said she was known for was being smart, funny, courageous. She was very strong-willed. She was very honest. And she was very close to her family. She worked her first real job. Unfortunately, that's where she met this evil. She had a boyfriend. She had a real close-knit family. Everything in her life, she had goals. Everything was normal for an 18-year-old girl. She was a regular teenager, and she was living her life. She worked evenings at this coffee place. It's called Common Grounds. You drive up to this kiosk in Anchorage, and these things you never suspect when you're waiting on somebody. You smile, you give them their coffee. Not that night, not her. On February 1st, 2012, Samantha worked the closing shift. The kiosk was small. It was isolated. One customer arrived just before closing. If you guess who, you're right. Ding, ding, ding. Israel Keys himself. Okay? She served him, but something went terribly wrong. Security footage caught him walking there, caught him walking to the window, and caught what happened next. At this point, he's getting sloppy in everything he does. Security footage showed Samantha. She looked scared. She looked like she was startled, because when she turned around to give him whatever he needed, the next thing you know, she has her hands up. She was being forced to comply with him. She was stepping outside with him. This person was Israel Keys. But at that time, nobody knew who he was. Nobody recognized him, right? He forced her to leave that kiosk with him. I was always told, and, maybe some of, Chris McDonough or somebody can talk on this, I don't know, but I was always told, if you're ever in an environment and somebody wants you to leave that environment, even if it's gunpoint or whatever, never leave with them fight, because if you leave, more than likely, you're not coming out alive anyway. Some do, some don't, but your chances are better to stay where you are. I'm just giving y'all that little advice, what I've always heard, and I could be wrong. But Samantha, she complied. She was scared. She was young. This was her first job. She was reported missing the next morning, and her family immediately suspected foul play. There was no doubt in their minds. Samantha, she wasn't the type to run away. She wouldn't leave. She wouldn't steal. She wouldn't do any of those things. The coffee stand showed signs of a struggle. So there was a struggle. The money, the cash, it had been taken, but her stuff, her belongings were left behind. The kiosk looked disturbed. There was footage. There was footage showing fear, and it was not voluntary where she left. The Anchorage police launched a full investigation, and her father, James, he fought relentlessly for attention, for media coverage, for police action. James did not stop, and thank God for her father. Days later, Samantha's boyfriend, he received a message from her phone, and it was saying she was alive. It had instructions. It was a ransom, okay? This message was not from Samantha. It was from Israel Keys. He demanded a ransom, okay? See, I guess he wanted to try something new. So he demanded a ransom, and he instructed the family to deposit money into Samantha's bank account. And this was very unusual behavior for him. He rarely contacted families or used victims or anything like that as far as ransom. So there goes the first mistake. This mistake helped the investigators. He was screwed, though. He got greedy. He got desperate. And I'm glad he did. This is what got him caught. What he did was he staged this photograph of Samantha that he took. Or I don't know if he took it or not, but he staged a photograph of Samantha. And it showed her holding a newspaper. He said, this is proof of life. She's holding a newspaper. You know, back in them days, we always want to see the date of a newspaper or something showing the date on it, right? Well, he staged that. He thought he was masterminding this whole entire thing. But the police later determined that the image had been manipulated. And it was just to make her appear alive, but she was not even alive. Boy, that must have been a blow to her father and to the family, right? And remember, you guys, it's scary, but you can manipulate so much stuff on this internet. It's scary right there in itself. And this is a perfect example. This is a perfect example. Hold on, let me see. Uh-oh, I'm behind on my chat. It stopped, and I didn't know why it stopped. I didn't know why it stopped, and I'm way behind on it. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, he thought he was an evil genius, Ruby. He thought he was. He thought he was. And, yeah, that's what he thought. You do. I agree with you. Absolutely. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up here. I think I'm down there. But anyway, hopefully it'll start back up in a minute. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, however, the photograph that they got, the investigators identified by that photograph. So it was kind of good that he did that. It was kind of good because with that photograph, they were able to identify her location, the timeline, and put some stuff together. They were able to identify some things that was in the photograph, maybe in the background and stuff like that. And eventually, they were able to also, along with the CCTV cameras, identify him as well. And at that point, they were on it. They had him. They pretty much had him. Keys began withdrawing money. Again, he was getting sloppy, or sometimes I think people just want to get caught. And that's in anything even small in life. Drinking, they leave tops around, they leave evidence, drugs. I don't know. At that point, though, after all the bad he's done, nobody, well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but after all the horrible things he done to these victims, I wouldn't have cared to recognize what was going on with him. I guess if y'all get my drift. I don't know. Let me just stop there because that'll get twisted anyway. Some people cry out for help is what I'm trying to say, but that's the one I would not help. They need a wood chipper. Okay, let's just say that. Thank you very much. But was he trying to get caught? I guess is what I'm trying to say. But at that point, they were on to him. Okay. Especially when he began withdrawing money. I mean, he was not, you can't say he was dumb. He wasn't dumb, but why did he do that? That's, I guess, what I'm getting at. But this was the biggest break in the case is when he started doing that. It's a criminal mind. Yeah, a criminal mind, Thomas, right. A criminal mind is a bad thing to have because it can progress over time. Absolutely. I agree with you. I agree with you. And it's hard sometimes to think in a criminal mind when you don't have a criminal mind. You know, yeah, it's kind of hard to do that. So this was, the biggest break in the case. And then the transactions showed that they were made in Anchorage, they were made in Arizona, they were made in New Mexico, and they were made in Texas. And this unusual movement led authorities, FBI, they believe that he was traveling by car. They put it together and they said he's driving, he's in a car, So then they began to profile. They had something to go on. Police finally located the vehicle, and it was a white Ford Focus. Lord, I used to have one of those. But it was a white Ford Focus, and it was in Lufkin, Texas, and it was inside the car where they found her ATM card. They found her phone. They found a mask. They found maps. They found a handgun. And they found all the evidence linking Israel Keys to the Alaska crime with Samantha. Okay, so Israel Keys was immediately arrested. And all of this happened on March 13th, 2012. He was arrested. So Samantha, she was remembered as an 18-year-old girl with plans, someone who loved her family, and her family loved her very much. I did pull up her whole obituary, but I'm not going to read it. It's kind of long, but you can look her up, and she was loved. She had a big family, but she was working her first job. She was very happy, but she was taken away way too soon by the serial killer in this very senseless, violent, horrific act. There was no reason this should have ever happened. It should have never happened to her, period. I don't either. I don't either. And then here's the thing, Raymond. I think once they do it, it's kind of like a dog getting a hold of a cat. They got that blood, that taste. And if they're that certain kind of person, they can go out and do it over and over again. That's what I believe, period. I do. And it might not be right then, but I believe, just like that Devil's Den guy. I don't think it's his first rodeo, and they are looking into things. I just think it's in their blood, man. I just think it is. But her case, Samantha, Israel Keys, all this, it received national attention. It received not because of the killer itself. Her case specifically received national attention because her family fought very relentlessly to find her, to bring her home under every circumstance. Her family never gave up. Her dad, he was not going to stop. He was not going to let the police stop. It was not even a choice. It was not even a thought. Her story is often today, and there's a lot out there on it. Her story is today talked about to honor her life, and it's also used to help and to warn about workplace safety, and it's talked about to help, and this is so important, to help the importance and talk about the importance of surveillance footage and remind people the importance of community support in the missing persons cases. That's all very important. And all I want to say about that is, if you run a business out there, I don't care what kind of business it is, put cameras up. But more importantly than that, if you have cameras, you need to make sure that they're properly working at all times. They must be in tip-top shape and working at all times. Never assume, always check them. That's so important. And never assume this will not happen at your place. It won't happen to you. It won't happen in your town, because it can. It does. And it might. And it's happened plenty of times where people's cameras were not working. So Samantha's case, hers exposed him as a serial predator, right? And it led to his identification. It stopped him from killing again. Thank God. And again, there's no telling how many is out there that people don't know about. But it allowed the FBI and all the investigators to reopen the unsolved cases across the whole entire country. Her bravery, her family's, being so strong, and to keep on the investigators, and the dedication that they gave played a huge role in ending Israel Key's crimes. Every serial killer leaves a pattern, except one, and that was this one. He didn't intend on leaving any. Okay? This is the case that exposed him. Samantha's case exposed who he was and caught him. Her life was taken, but there's no telling how many lives she actually saved. This wasn't solved by psychology. It wasn't solved by profiling or years of investigation. It was solved because of one brave girl and the footprints he never meant to leave behind. And this is the story of Samantha Cohen, the 18-year-old who unknowingly helped stop one of the most unpredictable killers in FBI profile, or, I don't know if profile is the right word, but history, let's just say. She wasn't involved in anything dangerous. She didn't take risk. She didn't put herself in harm's way. She was working, for God's sakes, her first job. She was simply doing her job. And that was the night everything changed. March 13th, 2012, a little Texas highway pulled over this white Ford Focus. And they matched the vehicle. They did an excellent job. Excellent. The man driving was Israel Keys. They realized that. They realized they had more on their hands than they expected when pulling him over. They were dealing with someone far more dangerous and far more experienced than they ever expected. When questioning him, Keys slowly admitted to what he had done to Samantha, and he told it all step by step. He also admitted to at least 7 more murders, and he suggested the number was even higher, but some he never told. He traveled across the U.S. to kill. He selected victims at random. He told them he buried kill kits, which we talked about, in multiple states. He would go back and get them. He told them he studied law enforcement to avoid detection. And no one suspected him at all. He had no preferred victim type. He would go after men, women, children, couples, all different kinds. He didn't care. He did not give names. He said, this was his quote, "You'll never find them all. You'll never find them all." He was right about that. He took it all to his grave. Samantha's case was the only one with enough evidence to tie him down. And in December of 2012, before he could be fully prosecuted, this coward, Israel Keys, took his own life in jail. He left behind a note and drawings that investigators believe, he was talking about additional victims. He took those answers with him, y'all. He was a coward. He took the coward's way out. That's the way I always see it. He took many answers with him to many questions. But I feel, in my opinion, he's still paying the highest price, a heavier price of anything, any crime, any judge, any courts could give him. In my opinion only. He's straight in the devil's fire pit with no mercy. Samantha's case, it ended in a serial killer's freedom, but her story and her family's fight, that forced a monster into the light. And, because they fought to the end. And, they still talk about it. They still try to do good with it. Samantha deserved to be remembered for who she was, not for what happened to her. And it's because of her father and her family that one of the most unpredictable killers in this history time was finally stopped. This case finally stopped him. Finally. Samantha's father, James King Jr., and her sister Kaylee, they've remained active. They seek justice and awareness. They do interviews sometimes, but for the most part, they try to stay private. The family's been involved in efforts to improve workplace safety, especially in Anchorage, Alaska, in Samantha's honor. And there's a bill called Samantha Cohen's Safety Act, and it's being developed to improve employee safety on late night shifts. And I think that's a good thing. The family had given some interviews, like I said, but for the most part, they try to stay private. Let's watch. We'll get back to some of this, but let's watch a video. Hold on. I think we'll watch this one first. This is breakfast cereal. Hold on.
On the night of February 1st, 2012, 18-year-old Samantha was working a late shift alone at the Common Grounds espresso stand in Anchorage, Alaska. A quiet, composed man approached the window and ordered an Americano. Now, yes, he was wearing a balaclava, but hey, this is Alaska. It's not out of the ordinary. As Samantha turned to make the drink, everything seemed routine. But when she turned back, she was staring down the barrel of a gun. He calmly told her to turn off the lights. Then, without hesitation, he climbed through the window and into the small stand. He forced her to her knees, tied her hands, and gagged her. Then, dragging her out into the freezing night, he shoved her into his car. He said he was holding her for ransom. Then, he drove her to his house. Israel Keats. This guy's gotta be the most requested killer that I get bombarded with in the comments on this channel. And you know what? Honestly, I didn't know much about him. But look, I'm not lying, look. Yeah, so you know the expression jack of all trades? That's Israel Keys. Just look at his wiki. Serial killer, bank robber, burglar, arsonist, kidnapper, and sex offender. Dude, pick a vocation, man. I guess it's a jack of all trades, but master of none situation though, because he ended up offing himself in a prison cell while awaiting trial in 2012.
Israel Keys' family and their pastor drove to the funeral home from East Texas, but no one else attended.
Yeah, 2012. And this wasn't that long ago. I'm usually covering guys on this channel from the silver age of serial killing. You know, the 70s to mid-90s or thereabouts. Serial murder was at its peak back then. If you lived in the USA, there was practically a 1 in 5 chance of becoming a victim of one of those deranged, lead paint on the brain sons of abusive war dads suffering from PTSD.
Back there, I can fly a gunship. I can drive a tank. I was in charge of $1 million equipment. Back here, I can't even hold a job. Fucking cars!
Okay, yeah, I'm exaggerating about the 1 in 5 odds, not the other stuff. MAGA, right? But hey, if you want more on that crazy silver age of serial murder, check out my video called Where Did All the Serial Killers Go? I'll link it down in the description below. It's a deep dive into that very topic. But anyways, back to Israel. You know who he reminds me of? Speaking of the Silver Age, actually? Richard Speck. Young Speck. Not weird hormone therapy prison bitch Speck. No, Speck, when he was young, was doing all this type of petty shit too. Stealing $11 and 2 packs of smokes at gunpoint.
See this?
Guy was willing to risk jail time.
All right.
For pocket change and like a pack of Marlboros.
Fuck off.
But what makes this guy so interesting to all of you? I mean, it certainly can't be his looks. But hey, shout out to Alaska for the classic black and white striped prison uniform. I feel like we don't actually see that very often outside of like old cartoons or Halloween costumes. Or this guy.
The Hammergler.
But back to my question. Why?
Israel Keys, I was fixing to call him Serial Keys. Israel Keys, he reminds me actually of Ted Bundy. He does. Now, I don't know all of his mannerisms and stuff like that, but looking at him, that's who he reminds me of, and his ability to commit these things and blend in with society, traveling across the states and the country. That's who he reminds me of. And his image, I mean, he looks squeaky clean, right? That's who he reminds me of. And I don't know about y'all, but that's scary. That's scary, actually. So, yeah.
Is he the most requested? I asked over on Instagram. I got a lot more followers over there than on YouTube for some unfortunate reason. And here's what you guys came back with. Kill kits. Unique methods, advanced planning, a lot of unanswered questions. I think it would specifically be what he did to one of his victims, Samantha. Because he is recent. All the planning, kill kits, etc. Then getting caught in a really dumb way. I'll get to all, or at least most of that, but first, if you really want to know why somebody is so messed up, you gotta start with childhood. I'm not here to blame parents for everything. We're our own people. We make our own choices. But off the top of your head, can you name one serial killer with a so-called normal, healthy upbringing and well-adjusted, supportive parents? Oh, wait, go ahead. Okay, never mind. No, you can't.
I hated her.
Keys was no different. The dude had essentially a parallel childhood to Henry Lee Lucas, and we all know that that's pretty fucking messed up. It's like Lucas 2.0, except, I guess, unlike Lucas, I couldn't really find any indication that Israel was butt fucking skunks and possums and stuff.
Make you bet.
He was, however, the second of 10 kids. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You just can't give proper attention to 9 kids. Neglect is actually a precursor to serial killing. Look it up. But just like the Lucas family, the entire 12-person Keys family lived in a one-room cabin. So, this clip, again.
Dylan, Dermot, Jordan.
I find so many uses for that clip.
Taylor, Brittany, Wesley.
You ever notice that in these situations, it's always a one-room cabin? Never even just 2 rooms? 3? No. 1 room, 4 walls, 12 people. But here's the thing, though, too. I mean, remember, we're talking 90s here. Open concept was a huge thing, all the rave. So how big was this 1 room? I mean, look here. That's pretty nice. Regardless, apparently the 4 walls weren't cutting it for long because a bunch of the Keys kids were forced to sleep in a tent outside and had to hunt for their food like the fucking Swiss Family Robinsons or that crazy movie with Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. I know what you're thinking. Hey, that sounds sweet. And I'll admit, when I was a kid, it was always a ton of fun to set up a tent in the backyard, sleep outside under the...
Not the Swiss Family Robinson. Not them. Oh my God. But they say his family was very strict. And again, yeah, exactly. What went on in that cabin? What went on and they say he hurt animals. We went down through all that. So what actually was happening there? You know, and again, this was like a normal guy that blended in. He acted polite. He acted social. He was from the military, you know. He held jobs when he got out of the military. He did construction. He had a girlfriend. They had a child. They all lived together. I mean, he was right there in plain sight. Now, same thing. Bundy had a girlfriend. He had a social life. Keys had a girlfriend and a daughter. It's just me. There's others out there, but he gives me those vibes, you know, and the charm. Evidently, he was able to charm, right? It's just crazy. Let's carry on.
Stars. Granted, I was allowed back into the house whenever I wanted, and my house had stuff like, I don't know, electricity, running water. So in his teen years, Keys himself, big hunter. And it says here in his wiki again, he freely admitted to skinning a deer. Okay, yes, so what? I mean, that's what hunters do, right? Hold on. Back up. Skinning a deer alive. Yeah, no, that's different. To make things worse, he was homeschooled. But again, honestly, being homeschooled with 9 siblings, that makes a kind of difference, right? They could have even had like a...
All right, so I didn't know that, but homeschooled? So there you go again. How many of these people do we see that are homeschooled? So it kind of begs to differ unless there's a real reason for them to be homeschooled. Is there a problem there? I'm just asking. I think it's good for the kids to get out and mingle with other children, other people besides their families, to learn the ways of the world, even though the ways of the world nowadays are not so great. But they've got to learn. And was he just tied down and controlled and too strict? I don't know. But harming animals and all of those things, oh my God, I'm just saying.
A school baseball team. Okay, but what about those parents I'm so quick to blame? His parents, they were super religious. Big surprise. Weird religious.
Take the fresh breath of Almighty God. Fresh, 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 fresh.
Now, you know that friend who everybody has who went to a weird church youth group growing up?
Virginity is cool. Come on. Virginity is cool. What up?
That's pretty normal compared to the church, or churches, I guess I should say, that Keys attended. His dad was trying a new flavor at Crazy Church almost every other month. Remember, this is Utah, so connect the dots. They started attending a church called the Ark. Okay, cool. Like Noah's Ark, I guess, right? A place of refuge.
Oh, Lord, we heard about
kind
that,
of animal,
right?
Right? Now, the Ark Church subscribed to Christian identity ideology, and it was founded by this guy, Wesley Swift. No relation, probably. What's Christian identity? I don't know.
At least I don't actually know what it is while I'm sitting here writing it right now.
I'm going to look it up. Christian identity is an interpretation of Christianity which advocates the belief that only Celtic and Germanic peoples, such as the Anglo-Saxon, Nordic nations, or the Aryan race and kindred peoples, are the descendants of the ancient Israelites and are therefore God's chosen people. Christian identity is characterized as racist, anti-Semitic, and white supremacist. Cool church. It continues. Wesley Swift formulated the doctrine which states that non-Caucasian peoples have no souls, and therefore they can never earn God's favor or be saved. Fuck you, Wes. God wants nothing to do with you. I mean, I'd rather go here.
Virginity is cool.
So thanks to their parents' religious zealousness. The Keys children were forced to hide from their parents just to watch movies, and they were forbidden to learn musical instruments. Well, I guess I missed the part in the Bible where God hates music. I mean, that's a new one to me. Anybody out there heard of that? I mean, didn't David, play a harp? He must be in hell, I guess. I mean, even the Westboro Baptist Church, remember those guys?
You're gonna eat your babies!
They said God hated all kinds of stuff. I mean, for Christ's sake, look at their website address. Holy shit. But even they didn't have a problem with music. Look at this. It's an entire page of music video parodies by the church. You got Santa Claus is gonna take you to hell. This land is... land? God hates Ireland? That's weirdly specific. And frankly, a little redundant, considering their first video down here was called God Hates the World.
Thank you.
Ireland is in the world, if I'm not mistaken. Now, as you can imagine, none of these videos are good.
He makes it interesting.
Hours going through.
There's so much sadness going on. God hates the sadder people. We needed this.
You, everyone, face a fiery day for your proud sinning. So just stop it.
Holy shit. So yeah, anyway, no music in the one-room shack. So Keys goes out and secretly becomes a huge Insane Clown Posse fan. Now that's enough to be put behind bars for life, if you ask me. Keys would like ICP, though. And I mean, sorry to any of you current or former juggalos out there. Hey, I mean, come on, you be you, okay? And whatever did happen to the juggalos, I feel like it probably doesn't age very well, but I mean, what do I know? As a teen, Israel got up to all the usual stuff you'd expect. Herding cats, selling stolen guns to local adults, and of course, keeping a diary of biblical quotes and documenting daily sins for which he felt shame. What? You didn't have one of those? A trusty sin-filled shame book? I mean, I never leave home without mine.
Reba,
I guess all that guilt and shame added up for Keys, though, and one day he decided, fuck it, I'm atheist now, and then got really into Satanism instead. The devil! Such a giant swing, right? To go from documenting your own sins to satanic atheist in like one breath. I also kind of never really understood how you could be an
I can understand why a lot of people stay at home now. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. This is some scary stuff. I know this is not a laughing matter, but Jesus, I love this guy, how he's putting it out. Again, we just need a little way of putting things sometimes. I got to. Okay, Raymond, thank you, honey, for coming. Thank you for your support. Absolutely. I'm going to come back later. We're going to get to his, where they're interviewing him later, and not now, but later this afternoon. So come back if you can and enjoy your Sunday, honey. Enjoy it. We had some youth pastors that were wrong. Absolutely. I think a lot of people's wrong about a lot of things, if you ask me. But that's just me. But I can see why there are some places, even in all different walks or religions or whatever, that you go to one place and then you go to another, and some of them are just totally different. It's strange, but it is. But this guy, Israel Keys, he was mean to animals and he was cruel, and they traveled to avoid any detection, just like Ted Bundy did. Bundy crossed multiple states. He did that with his crimes, and they both used cars and highways and distance. Israel Keys, he got all his stuff together and put it all over states and went back and dug it up to do his crimes. And that's definitely premeditated, right? Israel studied law enforcement. Bundy studied criminal justice in college. Key studied the police, their methods, what their purpose was. He studied all the things to not be detected, right? So I think they're a lot alike. And I think a lot of this family, the strictness and all that stuff, and being in the woods and the cat and all that, I think that's just mind blowing. I do.
Atheist and a Satanist. Isn't that somehow like an oxymoron? Like, doesn't the existence or belief in Satan mean that there has to be God as well? I mean, okay, let's see. Yes, it's possible to be an atheist and a Satanist. Many Satanists are atheists. Many Satanists are atheists who don't believe in a literal Satan or a supernatural entity, but instead use the symbol of Satan to represent rebellion against traditional authority in the pursuit of individual freedom and reason. Okay, whatever. That's stupid if you ask me. So you're gonna use the thing you claim is preposterous and stupid as a symbol for what you believe in? Oh, super creative, guys. Come on. Okay, so what do you think? Have I painted a picture? I mean, can we all agree that that's not an ideal childhood? I mean, what do you expect would happen? What choices does a kid like that have in life? Where can somebody that fucked up possibly end up?
But no, he didn't.
Army, but that song's funny. And okay, I mean, not all of them enlist in the military, but it certainly is a trend. I've talked about it on here before, so let's just add Israel to this here graphic, and that's not even happening, folks. Again, this is another topic that I kind of earmarked for a standalone episode at some point. So if you want to see me make that episode, let me know down below. But Keys, he wasn't in the military all that long, just about 3 years. In interviews following his arrest, he said he was anxious for his military service to end so that he could finally start murdering people. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened next. Let's circle back to why this guy is so popular, for lack of a better word. And the guy went to extraordinary lengths to keep the heat off himself. Look at this bucket. That's an infamous Israel Keys murder kit. Why the bucket? Okay, so let's talk about Ted Bundy for a second here. Now you see, Keys was an avid serial killer fan. When police raided his place after his arrest, they found dozens of books about murder. Hopefully nobody comes knocking on my door. Keys boasted in an interview that I probably know every single serial killer that's ever been written about. It's kind of a hobby of mine. So dude, just start a true crime podcast like the rest of us. Just a little side note here too. Keys called BTK a quote, wimp for apologizing in court and showing remorse for his crimes. You know what's wimpy? Using the word wimp. You stupid juggalo. All right, sure.
You know what's wimpy is doing this anyway, but it's wimpy to take the coward's way out and not take accountability. That's what's wimpy. He was a wimp. He was a sorry ass person. Evil. He was the devil for real. You know, Bundy had a clear victim type. He did. Bundy targeted the same kind of victims, women, over and over again. Keys did not. Keys targeted men, women, young children. It didn't matter if they were older. It didn't matter if they were couples. It didn't matter if they were random people. And that's why Keys he was even harder to catch or to profile. And that's just crazy. Again, Samantha, she was his last victim, and she lost her life, but she saved so many more lives. I guarantee you he would still be out there doing this today if he could get away with it. He would. And by the way, I just want to know what kind of cereal this dude's eating right here. He's making me hungry, just saying. Apple Jacks, Sugar Smacks. Just wondering. Just wondering. Just asking.
All right. What was I talking? Right. Okay. The Bucket and Ted Bundy. So, of all the serial killers, Keyes had a particular crush on Ted. He idolized Bundy.
Wait, what?
Modeled himself after Ted to an extent. Look at this. You know what that is? It's Bundy's kill kit. Now, what I'm about to drop here, this is a breakfast cereal exclusive. I haven't seen this theory floated anywhere else that I'm aware of, but I wonder if the whole murder kit thing of Israel's was inspired by Bundy's kit here. The only difference is dumb old Ted drove around with the kit in the trunk of his Volkswagen Beetle. He even got pulled over with it in the back seat. Now, what makes Keyes' murder bucket so interesting? The reason they're so creepy is that he buried them all over the United States in anticipation of, or to prepare for future murders. Authorities believe as many as 12 buckets were buried, and only 2 have been found as of today. In one confirmed case, Keyes buried a bucket in Vermont. It stayed there, hidden, for nearly 2 years. Then Keyes comes back, digs it up, and used it in the murder of Bill and Lorraine Currier. Their bodies have never been found. So it's crazy to think that there could be more of these buckets out there just waiting to be found. Now, every now and then, someone on Reddit claims they've found one and posts photos like this. But I mean, who knows? I feel like the FBI would be all over it if these were legit and we'd hear about it, right? Because, I mean, the FBI has posted a lot on this case. Look. Keyes went, as I said, to great lengths to avoid detection. His victims were completely random. Totally would have fucked up the mine hunters out there in the FBI if they even knew a serial killer was active, which they didn't, because there was no way or reason to connect the victims. He'd do shit like fly halfway across the country, rent a car, drive 1,000 miles in the other direction, dig up a murder kit he buried 2 years earlier, kill a random person, and then dispose of the body in another state. He never used credit cards, kept his cell phone off, and never committed murder in the same area twice. Not to be insensitive, but unless you're a complete moron, why wouldn't you do all that stuff? Like, I get that a random one-off murder in the heat of passion or something like that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that guy doesn't plan too much ahead. But a serial killer? How dumb would you have to be out there using your cell phone and credit cards? What, you're gonna buy the murder weapon with your Amex and then use Google Maps on your phone to get directions home from the dump site? Anyways, Keyes got away with this for quite a while. He was also committing arson and robbing banks along the way. Guess there isn't much money in serial murder these days. He settled in Anchorage eventually, started his own construction company called Keyes Construction, and had a girlfriend and daughter. And that brings us back to February 2012. After Keyes took Samantha to his home, he essayed her and strangled her in his shed. He left her body in the freezing cold. The next morning, he goes on a cruise. And this is where things get particularly messed up. He returned home from his cruise about a week.
He goes on a cruise. Are you serious right now? So he takes her home to his home. And he does the unthinkable to her. And then he just goes on a cruise. These people have no conscience at all. And what about his girlfriend and his child? What about them? Horrible. Horrible.
Later, put makeup on the body, sewed her eyes open with fishing line, and photographed her with a recent newspaper. His plan was to collect ransom money from her family. I mean, the fuck? Brutal. Thankfully, Israel Keys was a pretty stupid guy. I mean, ICP, right? And remember how I said he didn't use his cell phone or credit cards while on a murder trip, quote? Well, he did use Samantha's debit card to withdraw $400 from an ATM. He was smart enough to wear a disguise to hide his identity from the cameras, but that didn't stop authorities from getting a make and model on the vehicle he was driving. A few days later, when he used another ATM, authorities alerted a local law enforcement to be on the lookout for a white Ford Focus. Keys was apprehended. After initially refusing to talk, he eventually admitted to the murder of Samantha and gave the whereabouts of her body. But Keys still had one trick up his sleeve. In a brilliant plan to pay homage to his hero Bundy, in a court hearing to set a trial date, Keys made a daring escape attempt. He jumped over the railing in the courtroom and made it as far as the first row of seats before immediately being tased. Idiot. The guy expressed zero remorse. His only concern seemed to be for himself and keeping the media away and not having his daughter find out the details of what he had done to someone else's daughter. He never got to trial. Killed himself with a razor in his cell on December 2nd, 2012. In 2020, the FBI released the drawings of 11 skulls and 1 pentagram, which had been drawn in blood and found underneath Keys' bed after his suicide. One of the drawings included the phrase, "We are one," written at the bottom. The FBI believes the number of skulls represents the total number of his victims. So, after all of this, I guess I can understand why so many of you find this case so interesting. If you ask me, it's about the unknown. How many victims were there? Are there buckets still buried out there? Where? And whatever happened to the juggalos? We'll never know.
I believe there are still buckets out there. I believe they're still out there somewhere. Now, whether it's true, any people has come across the real buckets and the real things or not, I don't know. Is it possible? Sure it is. But I don't know if they're the real deal or people just say, hey, because hell, even if I come across a bucket like that, I wouldn't be thinking, oh God, this belongs to a serial killer. I'm just saying. But hey, some call me dumb, but Smiley ain't dumb. I'm just saying. I don't know if that would be the first thing on my mind, But again, we're normal people. We're not these criminal-minded people who is doing these things. So yeah, I do believe there's still buckets out there. And I believe he would have carried on. And I believe he would have kept getting, kept doing this. And I think he got desperate and he got greedy. A lot of people, some people even have said they reminded him of the Zodiac Killer. There was major similarities in that. But I just think he was his own person. I think he was out there doing his own evil. And think it's sad. Samantha's case, she was the only one that had enough evidence to tie him down. And thank God about that. Let's go on. I'm going to watch one more here.
One of the things that I wanted to go back to was something we were talking about the other day.
Funny. It's
and
more
just
serious.
It's not anything specific really, but you had mentioned that, and if the dates are wrong on this, let me know, but you had mentioned that when you were in the military, when you were over in Tel Aviv, you had gone to a couple prostitutes there, and that was when you were like in your 20s probably, right? Early 20s?
Yeah, I think it was about 20 at the time.
When did the whole prostitute thing come into play for you? Was that it, or
That was it. Yeah, no, Montreal.
So Montreal was before the military.
Yeah. Well, I that's the first time I'd gone. Was before, I think. Yeah.
Okay. You've been to Montreal a couple more than once then.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Jump ahead now. Anchorage is the process. Visiting prostitutes, is that something that you've continued to do over the years, including in Anchorage?
Welcome in. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it over the years.
Do you usually?
It's not something I do all the time.
Okay. Is it something that you use the internet for? Is it something do you go out to the street? I know there's not a lot of streetwalkers anymore, at least up here there aren't.
Yeah.
And they're
thanks to Craigslist.
Yep, Craigslist and Backpage and a few others. But is internet the way that you would usually find them, or how would you?
No, that was. I mean, really, I've only used computers for the last few years. I was always. Seems like every time I use computers, I get busted. So by somebody who wasn't supposed to see it. Put it that way.
You didn't figure out how to clear your history?
Well, I got better at it, but I was still paranoid about it because it seems like the damn thing would always pop up at the most inopportune moments. So.
Did Kimberly ever see that stuff?
Oh yeah, she saw stuff.
Yeah.
Weird.
Now, remember, y'all, a lot of you, I know, and I know from this, a lot of people want to know, what are they laughing at? Why are they carrying on? And da-da-da-da-da. Listen, they're doing what they need to do to make him feel comfortable. So you can't be mad at that. They're doing what they need to do. And he is very, in my opinion, comfortable with them, right? He's telling them, and he's very comfortable with them. So I just wanted to point that out.
Together for a long time, so she saw I made my share of mistakes.
Which websites did you use the most? You mentioned Craigslist. That's the most popular, I think.
Yeah. I would use the internet or phone books to get lists of phone numbers, and I would rate the phone numbers, and then I would just, when I got to whatever area that I was going to do it in, I just call down the list of numbers until I got a hit on one.
How would you rate it? What was the...
I would rate it just based on the vibe I got off of the ad or the description online, and then, you know, usually only about 25% of the numbers work, so I write down, you know, a lot of different numbers.
So would you actually call and talk to somebody and see what they had to say, and that would be part of the rating too?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, with that in mind, the rating thing, tell me if that's what this means.
You figured it out.
Does that look familiar?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? The 1, 2, 3 rating system? Because we know that those are numbers, and we know what those are numbers too, but okay. That makes sense what you're talking about with the rating system then. Did you call any of these?
No, I don't think so.
Because this was from your trip. Well,
it was in the car.
It was in the car, so it was on that when you were arrested.
Right. That wasn't a for sure thing. That was just one of those things. If I had had the opportunity to go up there, I would have gone. It's not like I was going to go for sure.
Mm-hmm. But you had Laney and
right.
Yeah.
And honestly, I probably wasn't going to go because the whole, you know, there was a lot of bullshit going on with my family there at the time, so I didn't want to. I just wanted to get out of there, and just kind of wasn't really thinking about any of that stuff. So.
Do you have cities or favorite or places to go that are the prostitution stuff is easier or better or
no.
more of it? Vegas or anything like that?
The sad thing about it was he was in the military. He was he was a hard worker. He was in the military. He was honorably discharged. That gave him access to all over the world, all the things. And I know you just come in, and for those just coming in. And he also, when he was honorably discharged from the military, he did hard work at the construction company. He had a construction business. But what he did was he took those buckets or kill pails or whatever you want to call them, and he planted them all over the United States. And he would go back to them, and that's when he would get his mark or whatever, and his victim, and do the deed. And it might be months later. It could be a year or 2 years later. But he would go back. He had no pattern. That's what's so scary about him. He had no pattern. He had no MO. He would go after men, women, children, couples, old, young. He did all those things. But I think, in my opinion, I think he got desperate on the end, or he was just simply trying out a new, because he never did anything the same. He even used different weapons. So I think either he was running low on money, or he did something desperate, because that's when he asked for ransom, and she definitely was not alive at that time. And he didn't use his cash and everything, or if he had money. He used her credit cards, and that's what ultimately led them to him, along with the CCTV footage. So, yeah, you know, he had his own business, so it wasn't like he had to go punch in at a 9-to-5 job. He could go whenever he wanted, do what he wanted, and he didn't have to be at a certain place where nobody was going to notice he was missing, that's for sure. And, you know, I don't know, with the honorable discharge, I'm not sure how all that works. He probably was maybe getting a check from the government. I don't know. Cecilia, hi, welcome in, honey. I'm glad you're here, and I hope you caught all of what I just said. And again, for those just coming in, I am going to come back on here later this afternoon, and we're going to have it's going to be a long, so y'all get prepared, live, because I want to go over all of his interrogation. And we may even have to break that up into 2, because, honey, it was 6 hours, I'm finding out. But I think this is very interesting. Anyway, let's go back. If you're just coming in, please hit that thumbs up button. It is free to do so. And I just know I love y'all, and I thank you for being here and spending some of your Sunday with me. Let's finish watching this.
No, I don't actually like Vegas.
Why not?
Oh, I don't know. I just
too many people.
Vegas is very predictable. Meet more interesting people in other places.
You don't seem like a big city person either.
Only if I have to be. I can get around, but I prefer more discreet locations.
But you visited Montreal a lot when you were in upstate New York. Is that just because it was the closest big city, or?
Yeah.
I mean, anything special attractions, Montreal or Canada, or?
Oh, I like Canada. It's predictable. But no, I didn't have like a specific hotel or area I would go to. I would just go to check it out.
Did you do in-calls or out-calls with the girls? Or with the prostitutes? Did you go to them? Did they come to you?
I wouldn't do it unless they were willing to come to me.
Okay. What would you look for in a person? Or what would you what would you request?
It would change all the time.
Okay. You didn't have a preference, or?
I always had a preference, but it would change.
Now, mind you, now they're talking about the prostitutes and all that, but mind you, they were not all prostitutes, and he did not have an MO. He did not have a preference for those coming in. He would go with men, women, older people. His victims sometimes would be couples. He would use different ways to unalive them and all the things. And so that's why FBI, was so hard to track him. Samantha was his last victim, and she was 18 years old. She had a full life, if you're just coming in, ahead of her, a good family that loved her, and all the things. And she was working her first job, and he ran up on her in her coffee shop as she was closing, and she did nothing wrong. All of these people are victims. I don't care what they do. I'm just saying. So I just wanted to, I know some are just coming in, so I just wanted to restate that again.
And every time it was different preference. It wasn't like I had.
What was the
whatever I was in the mood for at the time, I guess.
What was the preference? Because you talked the other day too that you kind of have a preference, but then nothing's really a deal breaker. But if there was a preference or kind of an ideal, what would it be?
Well, it depends on the scenario. I don't know what you mean.
The scenario that you're thinking of at the time.
Right.
And those changed, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about murders or that kind of stuff. The prostitutes is more of what I was getting at. I'm not getting into the other stuff that we were talking about the other day.
Well, I'm sure you guys found my porn collection, so I have a wide range of tastes.
And
it just varies.
Okay.
It's that's the way I am. I go like a year obsessed with one thing and then completely drop it, and then the next year it's something else.
He had no MO at all.
And the prostitution thing played along that same thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I never really took the prostitutes that seriously because, I mean, I was never.
Imagine how
I was only calling
investigators
them
felt, Andrea.
because
They had to
prostitutes.
go right on
I
along with them,
was
you know.
thinking I was gonna kill one of them or
Right.
something.
Did you have any regulars?
No.
Did the visiting the prostitute, did that sometimes work in lieu of or delay or satisfy you?
Oh yeah.
At some point in time, so
yeah, that's, you know, it's a good outlet, but it's not the same. So. It's anonymous, and depending on the prostitute, you can, you know, do a lot of different things. So,
Were you
Be careful driving, honey.
were you into more S&M stuff type stuff with the prostitutes?
Sometimes, not.
Not necessarily. It
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
always
not
part of it. Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't always the agenda. It's just.
Did you ever use ropes and that kind of stuff with the prostitutes as well? Or practice any of that stuff with them?
Nothing real crazy, but yeah, I mean, nothing very elaborate though.
So it wasn't like you had, you know, your rope set up and you would practice on them to make sure it worked the way you wanted it to work kind of thing?
No.
Not that elaborate. Okay.
No.
you freak a few of them out? It sounded like you were talking about one the other day in Tel Aviv or somewhere that was mad at you for some.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was pretty mad at me. I don't think she was scared. I think she was just mad at me, kind of thing.
She kicked you?
Yeah.
Took extra liberties that you didn't pay for, or
I think she was mostly worried about going over her allotted time or whatever. She was a pretty small little Russian girl, and
look at him, he just looks like
and I had
every
been
day.
drinking, so you know, I kind of threw her around a little bit. I didn't hurt her or hit her or anything, but I wasn't gonna let her run the show, I guess, and yeah, so she was.
That's interesting. He said he wouldn't hit on her. He just let her run the show. Oh no. Never would he hit a woman. Oh my God. Are you serious right now? Boy, them officers, them detectives was in a bad spot. I mean, I can't imagine. I can't. But yeah, he looks just like a average Joe, honestly. But he was caught. His MO was never the same. It's horrible what he did to these young girls. Horrible.
A little bit annoyed with me. And she didn't speak English, so.
That would make things a little more difficult.
and you didn't speak Russian, so.
No.
On the one on the prostitutes, on prostitution, was there a preference on gender always? Did you see male prostitutes?
No, no.
kind of male prostitutes?
You're gonna say you're getting really fuzzy on your definitions there.
I forgot how semantic you could be. Half male?
That's one way to say it. Are you thinking, or are you just?
Oh,
you're done with that?
Expecting an answer on that?
I think you probably got pissed off.
For the most part, it's female prostitute.
Sounds like a yes to me. The most part?
Yeah. I never really understood the whole male prostitute thing. Well, I guess no. I guess I do understand. It was never an issue for me though. Like, I don't know.
Oh, he understood them. He understands perfectly what they were saying. I think he was getting pissed off they were poking him, but he thought they had a real good report first, and then he's not sure if they're laughing at him or what's going on. He's sitting there thinking about it, in my opinion, and he's trying to think what to ask or what to say next and how to say it. He had no preference. He didn't give a damn. He didn't care about any of his victims. Andrew is right. He's a sicko. Raymond's right. He's a sicko. He was very damaging to all of these people. And I don't care what line of work they were in or who they are. They're all victims.
What's the smirk for? Did you ever do like the casual encounter thing on?
You think you're gonna shock me? Are you gonna shock? Are you worried about shocking us?
No,
okay.
no,
Just what?
It's just no. I imagine you guys aren't shockable at this point. No, it's just like male. Like I say, I never really understood the whole male prostitutes thing. I don't know if you're. I guess if you're looking for something really anonymous and you're concerned about getting caught with a man, or if you're a really ugly guy, I guess you might have to pay another guy to have sex with you. But for the most part, it's not that hard to find a guy to.
Ugly guy? What?
Pretty casually. Whereas if you have specific.
He said it's not that hard.
Ideas in mind, and you want a woman, you have to pay for it. Which is fine. No. It's just the way it is, though.
Did you say the whole Craigslist casual encounter thing? Is that something that you ever did? You mentioned the casual hookup.
No, well, no, I never really did that.
Anyway, so that was all of that, but we'll get into his interrogation. He had a long one, let me tell you. He had one heck of a long one. Full credit goes to serial killer Israel Key's prosecution, and they y'all need to go sub up to them. I can't imagine interviewing somebody like that. But they were trying to be, I guess, calm, cool, and collected. I don't know. I don't know if I could be that in person with somebody. I don't know. But in December 2012, before he could fully be prosecuted for those coming in, Israel Keys took his own life in jail. He was a coward. He didn't want to face the music. He was a coward. He left behind a note and the drawings. We showed that. And it led investigators to believe that represented those number of victims, more victims. Uh-oh, the music. Sorry, I always forget that. Thank you. Hold on. Shit, where's that? Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me so much. Italians. Yeah, exactly. But he took those answers with him. He took them all with him. I feel he's paying for it now. I do. Y'all know that saying. I just think he's burning in hell, but that's me. We don't know. We ain't been dead, but I believe that with all my heart. Again, no matter how much law enforcement sealed those records or tried to help his child or the daughter, the minor child that he had, because she didn't do anything wrong. I'm still here to tell you that she will always be tainted with this. It will always be in her mind. She will know. No matter how they try to do that. And it's the family. It's the family that he also, his family, Samantha's family. Samantha's on my screen. She was the 18-year-old, the one that he got caught by. You know, I'm sure there's not a day that goes by that they're not horrified and terrified by this entire situation still. I think they will be the rest of their lives. That's just me. I agree, Raymond. And remember, you know, they didn't do anything. His daughter didn't do anything. Even his family didn't do anything. Even if he was molded. Hey, Justin. Love you, Justin. Thank you. But even if he was molded, you know, by his family or whatever, he still had choices in his life, in my opinion. And, you know, I think after his arrest, they were completely devastated. You know, when he killed himself, nobody didn't come to his funeral. And I don't blame them. Does it make it any less painful? No. But what are they grieving? Him or what he did? I don't know. I feel sorry for his child. She was very young. But you know what? I feel sorry more for these victims. These are all victims. And I hate it even more that he took the coward's way out. Because he should have got it both places, here on earth and in hell, in my opinion. That's just me. As far as I know, his mother and his father are still alive. They were alive after arrest. And like I said, they did not show up to his funeral. And they've kept private. Nobody should ever go after the families. Everybody should leave them alone. Samantha here, her family, again, they are putting out awareness, have put out awareness about how important it is to have security cameras at jobs. And again, it should be, right? And if you have security cameras, I beg of you to please stay on them. Have them for your workers. Stay on them. Keep them up to date. Make sure they are working. It could be your wife or your child or your husband who walks in there at any given moment to check on something or pick up something for you, and this could be them. I think it's very important. I think it's so important. just remember every name, every case that we talk about here, it matters. Every name has a story. Some are mysteries. Some things will still stay mysteries, I guess. But they're not all mysteries. Some of it's just a little common sense. Maybe people get caught, maybe they don't. But these are real people and real families. And Samantha's family, Samantha, her boyfriend, everybody that was affected by this, her friends, her coworkers, everybody, they deserve so much more. I'm going to come back again. This is interesting what all happened, but it was like 6 hours long and I've got to break it down. So I'll come back this afternoon and replay some, but on, his interrogation and stuff. But people needs to be reminded of these things, even if they're old stories. Some things we hear about and we don't really know about. Some things I've heard and I've never truly known about, but it should be out there. There's so much more on this. It really is. It's just been something I wanted to look into. Again, I'll be back on it. Just remember, in this world, knowledge is power. Knowledge is protection, right? Just pray for the victims and pray for the victims' families. Always. They never get over this stuff. Never. And I thank you, mods. I thank you, subs. I thank you, members. I thank you, anyone in the bushes. I thank you all for watching. I thank you for being here. And thank you. I'll see you later. I love you. And I'll see you in the streets. YouTube streets, that is. Y'all have a great Sunday. Enjoy a couple hours. Take time to yourself. Bye.